Well, you're still optimistic about the market as a whole following a week in which we received guidance from ARM, Western Digital, and now Intel and Microchip. No, I'm confident in businesses that are actively competing with the GPU or supporting Nvidia. For less than $10, it's a NAR. Get your Nvidia keychain as soon as possible. We are offering a huge discount exclusively to the first 100 orders, uttered in a stupid manner. You see, on the Amazon conference call, they said that Nvidia sold out, demonstrating their complete awareness that they must invest in AI. They've been sold out for a while. They are most likely sold out through 2025. Listen, nobody has been deterred from believing that Nvidia will continue to be the main benefactor by the expenditure plans that we have heard, and that have been confirmed by companies like Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, or Amazon. However, the market is currently undergoing a significant rotation. In the end, there are worries about the consumer and whether the Fed is now lagging behind, but none of that seems to address the main issue, which is that Nvidia may be sold out for a long time to come. Of course, if you listen to Amazon, they have to make their own chips, but that's a defensive tactic because they can't obtain enough of them, isn't it? Creating their own chips? Are you present? Yes, this is how I view Amazon. Since the stock sounded so awful today, I would buy it. Thus, I think it's important. Amazon must purchase a large number of aircraft because they are aware of the high volume of business. They must erect hangars. It is no longer necessary to place passengers in planes when purchasing a large number of them. They spend a lot of money purchasing the planes first, and then you have to wager that they are correct. I'm willing to wager that chassis is correct. Otherwise, you may employ a different comparison. You can't just learn like a violin, yet they're purchasing a Stradivarius. You must learn to be a Stradivarius. Learning it is a little more difficult. Teaching inferential reasoning is a little more difficult. I'm merely trying to come up with an analogy to help them see that it takes time. The fact that they are unable to just flip a switch is upsetting people. Are you kidding? Is what people think when they bring up the Olympics. I mean, the nation is stuck in the year 2012. They're watching the Olympics, after all. Because they're watching the Olympics rather than me, they're not purchasing as much. Yes, I am aware that was strange. We did have the article yesterday about the DOJ contacting Nvidia's rivals who have been protesting, and Jeff did have a note today stating that clients are phoning in to inquire about possible delays in Blackwell. It's slower, actually. Although it's sluggish, many assume it would ship, and they will purchase them because they never truly stated that it would ship in bulk. They ought to return. They ought to speak with Jensen. He never stated that it will ship in large quantities at this time. Yes, exactly. The question of whether there will be a return on invested capital remains. By the way, Jesse stated the same thing, and the hyperscalers all gave yes answers. Remember, what about Zuckerberg? Indeed, he's discussing generative AI after all. According to Jesse, it will grow rapidly and will mostly be developed on the cloud from the beginning, which, as you can see, gives those companies the chance to keep expanding. There has been absolutely no update on the cloud from those who are deciding how to allocate capital. It is what we should all be concentrating on. Just one thing, please. You can say a lot. If you are upset with me, I apologize. I'm sorry. Not angry. This is a huge day, so I became a little excited. However, I regret writing the fiction about the AI revolution. Despite the white knuckles we're seeing in the market, I think it's still intact, and all of our checks are in good condition. According to the Financial Times, Elliott Management recently informed investors that Nvidia is in a bubble and that the hoopla around AI technology is out of proportion to reality. You are completely at odds, I am aware. I couldn't be more at odds. We were here prior to conference calls and earnings, and I believe we even discussed it. Now let's examine the numbers. Examine the Azure acceleration. Take a look at what Lisa Su from AMD discussed. In terms of the acceleration they're directing for the second half, we observed what we assumed Azure was merely pointing. That speaks to modernization and the fact that the time is here. The bigots have persisted in their hatred, in my opinion. The past few years, the bears have been there, I understand. It's simple to come out and sort of shout fire into a packed theater at the moment. Since it comes from more than simply the call, we actually don't see it. You see that the buzz is... No, Dan, you're correct. To your point, none of them are abandoning their capital expenditure plans. AWS revenue growth actually accelerated, increasing by 19%. However, there is still the more significant question of whether you will eventually see that return on investment. Naturally, you think that will be the case, but what do you see in terms of upcoming applications that will begin to at least ameliorate the situation? Hurry and grab your Nvidia keychain for less than $10. We are offering a huge discount exclusively to the first 100 orders. Are there any of those concerns that certain investors could have from an enterprise standpoint? In a few weeks, Godfather B, Jensen, and NVDA will share their thoughts with us. As we've constantly discussed, the use cases and the number of businesses currently following the AI road have increased 45 times. So these businesses are headed towards what I think will be use cases across healthcare, finance, insurance, and retail. When all is said and done, the modernization is evident, spending is present, and based on what Sue, Nadella, Sundar, and Jesse have discussed, I believe that a revolution is taking place. The modernization process is only now beginning. To bet on this and to bet against it, in my opinion, is like betting against Cook and 2.2 trillion in terms of where we ultimately see, the actual install base, and you look at an AI revolution coming to Apple right now. I'm not saying that we'll have an air pocket between the capital expenditure and when revenue comes. It's a difficult wager. Do you think it could last a year? Would you become anxious if it didn't happen within a year, that is, if the rhetoric didn't change? To call it second, third, or fourth derivative. I would argue that if we sit here in January or February and we haven't seen it, we haven't seen the monetization from a software viewpoint, and we haven't seen it from an actual mod outside of Mag 7. Naturally, we have to take a look at it if McDermott shows up and suddenly says he doesn't believe in artificial intelligence. But at the moment, it's actually more confident due to what we observe, including our paychecks and earnings. I've never seen anything bad about Bill McDermott. He has already made a change, and even if many people are currently kind of adding petrol to the fire, I'll take McDermott, Sue, Nadella, and Cook if they see something. We have been seeing reports concerning the Blackwell chip delay and the possible consequences for some of those clients, including Microsoft, Google, and Meta. How's that tail going for you? Do you believe this will make a difference? In my opinion, Nvidia may have a delay of up to 90 days in the release of the Blackwell series processor. However, I believe that their technology is so advanced that no one will be able to fill the void and take market share in the interim. It is therefore theirs to take. Since they are the most crucial link in the AI supply chain, I believe that their revenues will just be delayed for a quarter or two. This will undoubtedly affect the development of AI infrastructure for some of those hyperscalers, as we refer to them in the United States, which are the four large corporations that are investing billions upon billions on building their AI infrastructure. I know Sam touched on this, and she brought up the issue of the AI hype and being bullish on tech, which you are in general, but when you get down to the specifics, do you think the pressure will increase to the downside if an activist fund manager with Elliott Management's reputation says that there is an AI overhype and that these stocks are overbought? I believe that we must differentiate between what I refer to as AI 1.0 and AI 2.0. I still feel extremely at ease with those are the names of the infrastructure building firms, usually data networking companies, data server companies, and semiconductor companies. The four hyperscalers have just stated in their conference calls that they will invest a total of $227 billion on AI infrastructure over the course of the next 12 months. I suppose no one makes such a commitment. They also claim that their capital expenditures will increase from that extremely high base in the next year. So I don't think they're going to alter those projections. I like all of those stocks then. I don't own any AI 2.0 equities since I haven't been convinced by them yet. These are the businesses that say they would have these amazing lucrative products with AI on the other side after all the infrastructure construction. When I see it, I'll believe it. However, I currently only need the AI 1.0 stocks for my thesis to be correct. The AI 2.0 stocks are not necessary for me. Get your Nvidia keychain quickly for less than $10. We are offering a huge discount exclusively to the first 100 orders.